weird culture of respect in India, which I travel a little bit. I stay in like 5-star hotels because I'm awesome. It's true, fucking awesome. No, sometimes people book me for shows. They don't know that I don't need to stay there. So you go to the hotel and they have this old guy who's like 45 something. Okay, and he's like, "Good evening, sir. Let me take your bags." And I was like, "Don't call me sir, man. I was digging my nose outside." He's like, "Sir, huh?" This is not sir. You don't call this guy sir. Why are you calling me sir, man? It's weird.
So I used to have a band in college, and whenever they left it up to me to write songs, I would always write some funny nonsense song. We were very inspired by the comedy rock genre. That's what we wanted to do. This is very long ago, and I think eventually I had to be the vocalist of that band because members of that band kept leaving. So in the end, there were just 3 of us left, and even though I couldn't sing, I had to be the guy who was in front. And so because of that, I used to just pick on people in the audience and talk to them and make fun of them.
I was writing blogs, nobody was reading them. So I was like, I better go out and make them read it. So that's how I started doing pieces from my blog. There are places in Bangalore where I can just go and start doing comedy. Like, they allow anyone to come up on stage and crack few jokes. So I just went there, checked out everyone, like, इनको कुछ आता है कि नहीं आता है. And then I was like, इनको कुछ नहीं आता है. So I just went up on stage one day. And nothing good happened, but okay.
I think I went there, wrote some jokes on the way, just scribbled them, and I was like, okay, this is... I have a tendency to think that I'm like really awesome.
Wait. Stop this nonsense.
That thing, this is not true. But that's how my mind works. So I went there, I was like, I'm going to show these guys how it's done. So I went there and it was awful. I was the worst. But I liked it. And I think that's what mattered to me. It was fun to do. So I was like, I'm coming back here.
In the paper was a big article, stand-up comedy in Bangalore. And there was a picture of 3 comedians, Sandeep Rao, Praveen Kumar and Sanjay Manaktala. And I found them on Facebook and like full, I was like, please mujhe stand-up, I want to do stand-up. And they were really sweet and they let me do it. After I graduated from college, I was like, this is the only thing, I've done a lot of things. I've done film, I've done music, I've done graphic design. This is the only thing which didn't feel like work.
It happened completely by accident. I was studying in SIMC and for one of the events, I performed there. They'd given me a slot and they asked me if you want to do something different. So I thought, why not try stand-up? So I did stand-up there for the first time, did about 15 minutes. It went well. I got really happy, like, okay, this is fine, bucket list thing done. And then I moved to Bombay and that's when I saw, the scene was totally, was slowly starting to build up. And that's when I started doing open mics. And it just one thing led to another and it became what it is today.
So I watched this movie called Ship of Thesis, which was a good movie. No, it is the most pretentious movie of all times, is what I thought. So I was telling everyone about it because I enjoyed telling people that this sucks. And then I told Kanan, and then Kanan was like, he had some, I think we had talked about it previously also, that we can do reviews of old Hindi movies. And then he kept telling me, iska review karte hain, let's do it. I was like, isme koi potential nahi hai, there's nothing in it. So we kept postponing for it for like 6 months, and then I finally started doing it.
I think Biswa had seen Ship of Thesis and he came to me and he said, this is the most pretentious movie of all time. Okay, and then he explained the movie. And it was interesting, but I think that the word pretentious came and stuck from there. And also I think later I was watching a movie late at night on some channel and it was one of those old Bollywood movies. It struck me by they were missing a couple of like normal things when you make a film, like composition was bad, editing was bad, like sound was bad. So I was thinking it'd be really interesting to critically analyze something that was not supposed to be critically analyzed. So you do a review of something and that review has no value to anybody. It's not a current movie. No one's going to go watch the movie because you reviewed it. But I was like, it'll be fun to point out mistakes in something that nobody cares about. So the combination of those things birthed pretentious movie reviews.
First big show was Rising Stars in Canvas Laugh Factory. I went and I did, and that is, I got a standing ovation for that show. After that, I've never got it. So I was like, crap.
I laugh for days. I'm still laughing. It's so dumb.
We produce live stand-up comedy shows. So for example, if you're a venue or if you're a brand who's looking to leverage stand-up, you don't know how to go about doing it. So we take care of programming, curation, producing the entire show from start to finish. So that's pretty much what we're doing now. So later on maybe I'll expand into other areas of comedy, but for now it's primarily this. But I've taken up a bigger role with Veer Das's company, so I'm focusing more on that right now.
Funny disaster. Kenny and I did a show in October, and I opened and it went awesome. Like, it was going really well, and then there was a light on top which exploded, and the sparks almost fell on an old lady. They were like right next to her. Okay, and if they did, she would have died. Like, it would have lit her sari on fire. And like, until then the show was like, yeah, but I was so thrown off by that. But it took me a minute to like, because in my mind I'm thinking, can I make this funny? Is it possible to make a joke? How to solve the situation? Like, whoo! In the end I said, whoa, sorry about that. Anyway.
My first performance was really good because I didn't know what to do. So I was like completely going by instinct, and I was going very high energy. So they liked it, they laughed. But the second performance I was like, I can do this. And so I started doing experimental, like I had very good jokes, I dropped them, and I started doing bad jokes because I thought ye profound hai. So then that didn't work out that well.
Real experiment. So Daniel Fernandez is only comedian from Goa, and he had a concept because he was one of the few comics who could kind of play guitar, do music. My entire set is music, and Kanan can also play music, and then Abish Matthew is a very famous comedian who does music. So Daniel was like, okay, let's get Kenny and Abish and me, and let's do a music show because no one's done that yet. So that's where it stemmed from, and then we decided to make it, because usually if a comedian uses music, they use it as a trope, but they don't actually produce good music. So the goal was to do a show with really good music. On top of that, there's jokes. So something like Flight of the Conchords, that was our inspiration. We did that in in Pune, and it was a great show. And that evolved. Like, one time Abish wasn't there, so Kanan came in. Then Kanan changed the whole dynamic of the thing.
Oh man, yesterday when Daniel announced me on stage, the girl started crying in the front. That was insane.
Do we have to have this conversation now?
That was pretty crazy, man. It's usually I expect crying to be negative. We've never been that. That's very like Michael Jackson.
Probably crying out of happiness.
Like, oh my god. I hope it's crying out of happiness. Else he was so frustrated. This guy again. I specifically asked him not to put this guy. I'm just going to cry.
Once there was this guy sitting in the front row wearing green pants, and I kept making fun of his pants throughout the show. And then in the second half again made fun of his pants, and it turned out the lady sitting behind him was his wife, and she got mad, and then she yelled at me and she's like, okay, that's enough, stop it, you know, and just created this whole awkward moment in the room.
I really want to see more female comics, so they challenge us to talk about intelligent stuff.
I think some of the funniest people I know are women. I think, and this is a case that's been, it's a trend you'll see across industries in the UK and the US as well. It's just stand-up is just perceived to be more of a male-dominated industry, as is Bollywood, for example, you know. But there is, I don't think there's anything stopping you if you're a woman who wants to do well in comedy, and if you can write well, if you can perform well. I don't think there's anything that should stop you purely because of your gender. I think women are just as funny as men. I sometimes find women funnier than men, but I think it's just a perspective that both genders bring that probably differs a little bit at best. But I think there is no reason why we can't have just as many female comedians as we do men.
Get slapped, okay? Yeah, clearly. Yeah. Oh, at some point we have to clap our own